All right, here we go.
Here we go. Mike said it, flag is down and we're off. So
That's true.
Dale and Mike here from TradeGATEHub.com, sponsored, powered by TradeView Markets. Mike, great to be with you on the first day of summer.
It is. Good morning, Coach.
And, we were talking last week. I just wanted to show just quickly some of these silver shares are putting in, pretty decent lows at great technical support levels, 61.8 back. And the golds are turning as well today. So I'm a precious metal bull, silver in 2022. I want to go to S&Ps because you and I were talking about this line. Okay, this line I drew. So I was thinking it was going to hold like the 80-ish level because that's where it was coming in. And we had this one day underneath it, Fed day, right?
Yeah.
And what
Actually,
happened?
that was the day. That was the day after the Fed. No, because
it could, or it could have been the day after the Fed. We had some follow through.
Yeah.
But the important thing that I see about this is that this looks like a fake breakdown.
No,
that's and this isn't even I think this is Friday. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This, and I don't believe that close. So the close was more like, I think it was a misprint. They took it down to because it was more like this in NASDAQ where you didn't have that kind of low. Here's 3 days up. But point being, I'm being a little anal because I'm a technical analyst. Do you know what I mean, Mike?
Yeah, no, I got it. No, I want to make a point of that too on a macro thing, getting into a plan. Go
okay,
ahead,
yeah.
no,
I know.
By the way, you're right. That was that day down. It was Wednesday was Fed day. Thursday was the bar down. Friday was the false breakdown, if you will.
Yeah.
But this is why I'm a little bit reluctant. And it was an anomaly. And by the way, anomalies that's been more of a common term than not. It was it was a heavy OPEX going
That's
into
right.
that, and it is the end of the quarter also. No,
but look at the divergence from these were the pokes underneath the line, Mike, and look at here, right here, where the RSI level is compared to where it was on the 13th or 12th. The divergence was glaring as it was, putting in these little spike candles. And one thing I think, and I understand it'd be hard to reach and get long right here. And it's probably people thinking, well, book something. I'm never against that. But, sometimes when markets start to move like this out of nowhere and you have 2-3 big days besides your 3 days in one direction,
right?
People are reluctant to get in until they're like forced in. So maybe we're not going to have that sponsorship for a while because now bearishness is so ingrained in trader psychology.
A couple, well, I'll get into some macro points and obviously specifically trades because that's what everybody kind of wants. In a second, I posted on TGH the Goldman Sachs is what would I post here? We'll get to it in a second. I can give you it here. And now this was by Unusual Whales, a known site as Walter Bloomberg. Goldman says that last week they had the most shorting activity ever.
Okay.
All right. Now.
And then rates, right? So this was a Fed day.
Right.
The 10-year.
I think we're up today a little bit because of a couple of reasons. Let me get to my point, okay.
You want to take the charts?
Well, Well, actually, I will take the charts if I can.
I know you're working on a new platform.
I am, but the charts I have, the charts are the one. Well, I have the two most important things: the order entry system and the charts. Everything else, it's a process. Like I'm opening a new business. I'm actually going a la carte. To digress, I'm having Sterling, a TradeView as my order entry system. I also have that as my charts. I'm having a new system that I'm going to have. Separate from that I'm going to pay for, and I'm actually going to relay here, and I'll take the hit, if you will, as long as everybody takes my word for it. And I have another. I'm using actually TrendSpider as well as the TGH stocks tab for my queries, if you will. So it's take a little bit of time here, but the most important thing is the charts are starting to make more sense. And I'll tell you one thing, and I was going.
All right, I'll stop sharing. I just wanted to show that the Bitcoin low came in this weekend.
Well, that also helped. But listen, that
Yeah.
also helped. And Bitcoin, I was doing my due diligence, and due diligence is meaning, uh, reading a lot. And that might have been to my detriment, but it normally never is because I can separate sentiment from price action pretty well. And that basically goes from experience. So I saw the Bitcoin was up, and it was up. The market was closed being Monday yesterday, and
Yeah.
Sunday night it was up very nicely. And everybody was saying, "I wish it was up Monday because it would have follow through." And everybody thought that it was going to collapse on Monday, and hence the market would be weak today, being Tuesday. But it held up very well. And quite honestly, I think it was because there was so much doom and gloom. Everybody had no one really to watch over the 3-day week, and it was such doom and gloom that everybody was just eviscerating Bitcoin. Everybody had the 14.5 price targets, like myself, and I think it held whatever the 17.5 or
17.5,
yeah, whatever it was. I shouldn't make light of where it held. It held at that level. Thank you, Coach, because it's a big level.
I think that it saved Popeye the Sailor. I mean Michael Saylor margin call. I get him confused with Popeye the Sailor Man.
No, it did. And you know what? MSTR was actually Microsoft. I'm pulled. That was a Freudian slip. Microsoft. MSTR, by the way, for all the breakdown on the daily.
Yeah.
And as Bitcoin was, listen, I'm not saying I would have taken a shot. I didn't. I'm a Monday morning quarterback on this, but the price action could have led you to a little bit. Bitcoin was making precipitously new lows going into Friday, and this MSTR
held previous.
Was kind of holding its own. And when it held that gap down on that, basically that gap down when you saw whatever last week was the same news that we reiterated today. So there's a couple of reasons why I believe we're up today. I believe it's front running into the end of the quarter. I do. Okay. I also think that, as you said, the Bitcoin rally or base, as you will, that was put in. And by the way, it held a base of 19, 20,000 above 20,000 for 3 days straight when things could have been teetering, correct? And the third one is, I think no news is good news. Bitcoin didn't collapse. The Russia war didn't escalate it, although it is aggressive, as we know. I'm not making light of it. And there was not a lot of bad. There was no lack of bad. There was no bad news to cascade things lower. Now, the topic of, before we go on the air during our production meeting, we talk about the titles and everything. And the title that we threw back and forth was this the beginning of the summer rally. And the bottom line is, I'm not saying it is, but a lot of things are acting more favorably.
Yes.
And side note, a vignette, as my wife would say, side note, OPEX might have skewed things, if you will, but the fact that the XBI has held with some volume, some things have been more, stocks have been acting, sans Bitcoin, although the weekend helped it, have been acting better on bad news than they're reacting, taking good news, selling it off.
Well, there was some good news last week. Crude took a $10 hit.
Touche. Okay. Another one. Right.
That's good news.
A couple of charts.
And we were talking about crude and natural gas, and they are some of the major culprits, right, for interest rate pressure.
Amazing.
So if we get a continuation, regardless of rallies, the highs look like they're in. I actually think the oil cycle is done. And what I'd like you, this is your homework assignment for me, that if there is a summer rally, I'm sure people are going to buy the oils. Okay. But I am curious where the rotation is going to go, because I don't believe oils will be a leader anymore. I think they'll turn into a follower, and I'm interested in where the money's going to go on this next rotation. Should we get this, at least, a good bear market rally back to 4,200, 4,400 during the summer in the S&Ps.
All right.
And
well,
I know you have opinions about that.
I do. Listen, it's all predicated upon on interest rates naturally, and what's going to propel or what's going to keep those oil. If you are indeed are correct, and I'm not arguing by any means, what's going to keep the oils down with that proper rotation and what you're predicting. And by the way, I do agree, not to placate, is going to be predicated upon the continued macro situation. What we're talking about, no. If the oils are going to stay down, it's going to be favorable, and naturally Tesla high today. And naturally, it's going to be what's going to rally. I'm going to tell you what's going to rally. I asked if I have a couple of go-to guys, and believe me, and I don't have go-to guys. I'm not asking them, about the specific consumer staples sector. It's about the banking index in general.
Okay.
And I'm not saying I'm the judge and the jury, but over 27 years, I'm talking about the banks of the top five, arguably groups. So it's not like I have a lot of people that have a lot of articulate and smart opinions on the banks. So I basically said this morning, what do you think about the banks? And you know what? Here's the Charter City, actual weekly. And I have only two positions in banks, which are JP Morgan and Citibank. Citibank, I bought actually very, very positively on the second flush as we went back to last Wednesday. JP Morgan, I have a position in, but what I'm going to do, I don't think
they don't look good.
No,
they could be. They're still in a bottoming process. Now pull up Google, which I know you owned from the lows in early May.
I do.
Okay, so there's Google putting in a higher low and starting to come out of it. That chart compared to what you just showed me is night and day.
It is, and it's coming. Listen, and I'll let me go back to something here on TradeGATEHub. I post. He's not the judge and the jury. And by the way, I do more homework than I ever done. I'm doing more macro homework because, you know what? Let me tell you on a personal level. I've been through a lot of cycles, and I've outperformed in every single cycle. During this time, when there's so much uncertainty and people have seen things they've never seen, including what the dollar, the dollar is it yen making a biggest move since '98, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, think about what's happened since 1998 in every capacity it could have happened. So I consider this rotation to me one of my defining moments. I'm not going to lie to you. This is my chance. Everybody says, "Oh, how'd you do that?" Oh, I did. Now people are going to ask me how I did in this level, and obviously numbers don't lie. So this is one of my defining moments. I digress. I'm looking. Things are acting appropriately, and if the rates kind of correct themselves, or if the news is already priced in. Now, I want to make another point, and it's going back to I am on TGH here, I believe.
Yeah, you are.
Here's one thing right here. We're on track for the worst quarter ever in the history of the stock and bond market.
Yeah.
What are the odds of that? You know what I mean?
Unprecedented. No, it's happened before.
Has it?
Yeah, it has.
Oh, I don't know why.
In the early 80s, when Volcker was raising rates, bonds got killed. The market.
Well, I'm posting it. That's.
But it hasn't happened.
I don't think this guy's
40 years ago.
Well, I got to check this. I mean, this guy's a popular goot.
Oh, in history. Okay, in history, huh?
All right.
Huh?
I agree.
Unprecedented.
Well, it's okay. Either way, okay.
Either way, it's
1980.
Rare. Yeah. Okay. Right. 80. Yeah.
But this guy's a freaking sharp guy too. Here, but whatever. It's cool. We'll go. I'll give him a thing. Anyway, 35% of U.S. XBI of biotechs are trading below. Now, this is the group that I think it's good. That I think is going to rally into. And by the way, I also have something. Also,
I like that one you owned last week when we were talking. Really had a nice pattern.
Yeah. No. Oh, CRISPR.
It was the gene editing, or
here it is. And right
CRISPR.
now, there's the two. Oh, here it is. Here's the 200-day.
We're seeing TradeGATEHub.
And I'm going to show it. And right now, I wouldn't short it, definitely.
Okay.
And that stocks went from 53 to, and you know what? The XBI.
That looks even better than Google.
It does. And XBI, granted.
That looks good.
Well, what you want here is it to make the high or low. This came in with the capitulatory volume, and this is yet to be determined. But if it does hold, the low is in. And it's going to test the all-important 50-day.
Going to 90.
Good, because I'm with you. And the same thing, all the baby ones not have been squeezing. They've been acting well. Let me look at a little dog called Clovis. He's making a nice move. How about the baby brother to CRISPR, which is my Nutella? And by the way, everybody knows I'm on the record. I've been liking it since 70, 80, whatever it is. And I have been posting about it more because it's been acting positively to negative news. And Nutella is, by the way, it always shows you to go by the best of breed, which was CRISPR, noted.
Yeah.
Here's a trading lesson, and it's no surprise that CRISPR's like that, and it's not because of the price. It's just because that's how it is. Now, Nutella made a decent move. That's going from 36 to 47. The 50-day is important there. So the second half for me, and it's an interest rate sensitive group as well, or the biotech.
Okay.
Why? You don't need. It's not. There's no shortage of chip demand. There's no, all you need is a little bit of time. There's not a lag time it's definitely not a shortage of manpower. And it just takes, it's just acting very positively. Another thing I want to point about is a couple of these China stocks have gone into stage 2 breakouts, if you will, Coach, if you can edify this. I've been doing a lot of learning on stage 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, because sometimes I've been
Is that Wickoff?
What's that?
Is that Wickoff's strategy, different stages
Yes.
of a rally?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you familiar with it?
Yeah, I've interviewed Bruce Fraser and Wickoffians before.
So I'm not surprised, but I've been learning about it. Well, once again, I'm just trying to put
it's a great discipline.
So I'm saying that a couple of these Chinese stocks, and I'm
That's a 3 drive to a bottom right there.
PDD has now gone to that China stock.
Yeah.
DQ, which is the Chinese solar. It's a thin one. Another one.
Looking great.
That's another one. JKS Solar. We all remember.
So China's leading the way because their central bank is stimulating.
Here it is, Coach K-Web, which I'm going to add to. And here's another one. FUTU.
Maybe China leads this rally. Maybe Asia leads this rally. That
FUTU, and let's look at VIPs. So these are stocks that I'm interested now that if they, I'm
what a base in that one, man.
Yeah. Baba. I think the room bought it on Friday afternoon, even though it was acting very poor. I did sell it this morning pre-market. I think about I sold it at 107, but this is yet to be determined, but it's taken out bad news. That's off the lows, but it's been taken out today because of JD. But you know what? Even I went short JD. So it looks like China. I mean, that has definitely seemed like it's bottom.
You've answered a few of my questions. So so far the groups we've looked at is stay with what brought you to the dance, and these stocks have already begun their moves prior to the summer rally. They put in long bases. So from the title, which sectors would lead, I'm getting from you China, biotechs,
and mega cap.
And mega cap. And let me throw in one more. Silver miners. Okay, so mega cap. And that's what I noticed before we came on the air. I went and looked at some of the mega caps. Microsoft looks good too. They all look like they could at least have very good bear market rallies. So
that's what I'm looking for. Tesla testing that down channel.
Yeah.
But you also have this other one, which is helping Tesla. You have this LI Automotive, which arguably now is the leading China stock. Look at that one. They make EVs in China. And then you look at XPEV. I mean, actually, that's catching up to it. Then you look at the other ones. Then you look at those
are all breakouts.
Well, EH is a what is another one? Let's look at the Riven. I gave the room in that one this morning when the other ones are going.
Let's just look at FXI, see what that looks like. The broader look on it. Wow, that one exploded.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've even found in China, which FXI looks like there's more left.
But Coach,
you found the strength. You found the strength within FXI, though.
Yeah.
Because they're making new highs.
Coach, the thing is, we were talking about all the relative and strength in China like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How that was? And everybody, remember the JP Morgan, Kalanovich was saying he's bullish on China, and they just sat there dormant. And Lewis actually had a good point that every time they have a good day, they have a bad day, and they would just go and chop. And it was very hard to build a position to have some confidence. And lo and behold, here we are. But it's not where they were, it's where they're going. So let's not worry about that they made the move. As I said, a lot of these stocks are breaking out, including not the FXI, but this looks good. It's an ultimate compliment for me. We're obviously prone to geopolitical news, but I wouldn't short that. There's a compliment from somebody that's got a thick skin for doing anything, if you will, right?
Yes. Yes.
Another one. Look at this. There's something on TGH here. Another one. And this is from Zero Hedge. I mean, he's usually on. He exaggerates a little bit, but last week we saw the 4th and 5th biggest sell-off programs in history. Now, the history is, we're old. Let's even go back to 1980, if you will, and before. So 50 years. 40 years. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Just out of no, it just, there's the news is out there of the war and inflation, but there's no continual, there wasn't a final bullet in the head that says this might be it. And the reason why, and let me go, I'm going to finish with this because I know you're right on this time. Here's my macro view in the market. Some people are calling for 3,200. And I'm going to tell you, I wouldn't be surprised I get there, but they never set you up for the perfectly meatball pitch down the middle, which, by the way, that would be the meatball pitch down the middle, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Oh, so they never, you might correct me, and I understand, I might be exaggerating. Maybe one time it happened in the week. So I think they kind of ran into, there's the other one about the NASDAQ, into the bear, making the bear flag.
Yeah.
And by the way, it did hold the red, which is the 200-day. So let's hold on. I'll post more of my numbers later. So I wouldn't be chasing up here in this level. You made a great point about everybody's underweight and underfunded. That's no surprise. As a matter of fact, let me go to insiders are buying, another one. Hedge funds still leaning a bit more short. So they're pressing a little bit down here. Another TradeView colleague of mine has said that Bridgewater has 10 billion short in Europe. But you know what? Bridgewater, if they make 6 to 8% on 10 billion, they're superheroes, correct?
Yes.
So if they're completely correct and they're calling for another 6% down in Europe, 8%, I think everybody will take it that's the capitulatory low. And what happens if they're wrong and they got to cover 10 billion? You know what I mean? So it's the same as always. It's a short week. It is a Tuesday. We do have the 27th and 28th are going to be big days because it's another option expiration. Goldman has some funds to put in. I don't know what they're going to do yet. You have to listen. I'm not baiting anybody. You can just go to the red YouTube button and go back to our broadcast today. But you got to be in here moment by moment. They might change. You know what I mean? That's all. It is only 2 hours after an open, and look what's going on already after a holiday. So.
Yeah, the casino is wide open.
It is wide open.
Casino's wide open, and now that there's been a lot of devastation in the markets, be hard for people to buy. And I think this rally lasts until the fall, and we'll see how far it carries. That's my big macro call.
Well, I appreciate that call. And by the way, I'm not a waffler. I don't think, matter of fact, that if I said this, I'm not going to apologize because we give a meeting every day, but go to the red YouTube button. I don't know. I can't say the worst is over because the seasonality, but this is why I'm completely reluctant to say that. Although gun to my head, I'm actually playing it that way. I'm long and I'm not underwater on them. I'll show you the positions. I got out of a lot. You know what? I made a lot of good money back to get positive. But the last move down was a tough move down because it was the worst move down and the fast move down. Yes. My point being is, this is very rare, and the bank. Let me go to this. I'll go to two things before I leave. Is what the option guys are doing. Bank of America, fear, greed.
I saw you had Band of Brothers on there, man. It's one of my favorite series.
Yeah.
Watch it too. Go ahead.
Hold on. Tools. What am I doing? Thank God I'm not looking at porn on here. I get embarrassed.
The Fear and Greed Index.
Yeah, hold on. Past 24 hours. All right. Well, this is CNN. I wanted to do the Bank of America, which I have in my private feed because it's a whole thing. But believe me, it's down to zero. The BOA. Yeah. You know how the one where I have it like this, Bull and Bear.
Yeah.
So, like I was doing homework with my colleagues this morning, it's either something underlying underneath that's going to bring us down to the 32. I feel like it's almost binary from here.
Yeah.
Okay. And this, I say it a lot, but I will leave it at this. And
why not a rally to 42 and then 32 later in the year, or even 3,000 or 2,800? Just to, squeeze the shorts for 3 months.
But no, I appreciate that. I would love it. Believe me, because I thrive on the volatile. I wish the VIX was the 50. I'd be on the cover of Forbes, as I say. But this is what Kramer's saying. This is already after we're down. This was before today's rally. And before today's rally, here, let me remind everybody where we were on the spot. So if it could have been, if we didn't rally, we could have been at 338. And by the way, this is only a little bip. Oh, this is a weekly. Hold on.
Yeah, look at that moving average. Yeah, those lows are important.
Okay, so this is not like Kramer's saying this into having Friday a little bit of, a little bit of relief. And then I'll go
Yeah.
back to what he says here. And by the way, he has been on a macro level. Maybe his trades haven't been on fleek or on point, as they say. We're at a -10 on the oscillator that I follow, oscillator. And the Bank of America one that I follow is in red, extremely bearish. It
Yes.
flatlined, even
Yep.
after Friday's little maneuver. So the S&P's gauge, which has only been twice wrong since 2009 and 2020. So if it's wrong, the oscillator being at 10 and my oscillator is the same, it's either going to be, binary, meaning there's something lying underneath and somebody's been right. Bridgewater might be right. The sentiments have been right, even though they've been washed out and haven't bounced like this. Or we could begin there again, but history says we bounce. So I want to look at today's close because Friday, I don't really believe, because anybody can trade by mobile, that everybody's out in the Hamptons on the 3-day weekend. This is, these are uncertain and life-changing times. If we would have went this, if we keep going to your 4,200, which is going to be a nice 20-30% move and everybody's going to be happy, or it could have went the other way. So I don't believe in everybody's in the Hamptons and getting back and it's a wait till all the guys come in. No, today's close is going to be important. The sentiment indicator is going to be important. Where BABA closes be important because of the move. Where JD closes the important. Let's look at what those two bellwethers of how China is going to follow through. Let's look what the banks do. Let's look at how your silver does. Let's look at the best of breeds, being Microsoft, Google, and Apple. So today's close, and I say it a lot, the rookie money is at the open, reshuffles out, and everybody gets giddy. Oh, I made money in the overnight. But you know what? From 2:30 on PM to 4, that's where you're going. So Powell is speaking tomorrow, for what I'm telling here. And that's all.
I'd also like to remind viewers that the S&P chart I showed only had 2 drives on the intraday. So it's very possible that we could get one more drive down there. So scale in and do it slowly. And if you put up like a 4-hour chart, it'll come up probably on the SPYs too. You'll see. Okay, so you had those little spikes underneath there. Yeah, that's your daily, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't have my 4-hour chart up
that's
yet.
okay.
Coach, I apologize.
Anyway, I'd be a buyer should that happen, not a seller if they take it down to, under the lows that we had last week for a 3 drive. But I actually think there's a very good possibility that we're just going to launch from here and the fuse has been lit.
All right, let me bring up a couple of other, Coach. I don't want to go too overboard because I know you're the viewer retention rate, and I appreciate I appreciate the hard data, and that I can understand that. So let me just go with the wise guys are doing and leave it off with that because they know best. Okay, here's an update. Decent action off the open as today's option sweepers get involved in the morning squeeze. But this is an hour ago. Buying is fairly broad, decent amount of names involved. Let's see how the action, the pace buying looks once the scramble off the open settles in. What I said, we said, we're not the geniuses, but that's intraday sentiment says still has plenty of room the upside. So there's no issue, Coach. The squeeze might continue. Yeah. And what are they doing now? AMD's bullish. Riven, I called it out 1,000 times. GDX calls going off 3 times in a row. GDX bullish, GDX bullish, GDX
Love those
bullish.
Precious metals, Mike, and there's
I'm
only
sure
one element left.
Huh? Repeat sweep buying in the ATF China ETF.
Yeah.
So before we got on here and knew what the wise guys are doing, this is not Pat, Mike V, and Coach in the back hour. We talked about 2 things, China and precious metals, and we came on. And there's GDX and there's China repeat. That's all. You know what I mean? Come on.
Yes, just from having a lot of screen time, we see things, and you can learn from people that have experience, but you can't learn experience. That's screen.
You'll get it. The bottom line is you'll have to work on yourself. We're always going to give you we're giving you the least of your problems will be a plan and stock or financial instrument selection. It's up to you for fundamentals on knowing how to build your style, knowing what works for you best and not with whatever. That's what I'm going to say. That we got to go.
And anyone who bought the silver shares on my call last week, you could now risk, instead of the low of the move, the low from last week. So you have a break-even trade on those now. We get a nice pop, say it rallies a couple of points, take partials. And with that being said, don't just count your winners, count your blessings. And I count myself fortunate to be able to work with you, Mike.
You too, coach. No, really, that's inspiring. It makes you want to make me get better. You're at a high level,
Well,
and I don't want to slack.
I like what we're doing for people that listen to us
I think that
and
for
give
those
them,
that are listening, I think they are. They are
yeah,
getting it. And the number one thing, if anything, it's quality over quantity, and there's not a bad question. And it's not a
yeah.
bad question. I think people are getting it. Just you got to ask questions.
All right,
All right,
my
thank you,
friend.
everyone. We'll see you
All right.
tomorrow. I'll be on 11. Coach will be on at 9:30.